Hello, and welcome to this video on Excerpt C, Squires at Twilight. My name is Dana Rath, and in this video I'll be playing through the excerpt and then outlining how I went about learning it. Also, feel free to check out the video on Excerpt A, which includes a more detailed guide on how I prepare any excerpt. Now that I got through the introduction, here's my recording of the excerpt from Squires at Twilight. Okay, so now that I played the excerpt, I just wanted to start by sharing with you a screenshot of the fingerings that I used. You are not obligated to use them, but try them out and see if they work for you. Also, since this passage comes from a solo piece and not an orchestral work, I'll be focusing primarily on the music-making aspect of playing this excerpt. So, the first thing I did when learning this passage was to identify its structure or shape. To do that, I looked for the highest and lowest points, as this gives a good sense of the phrase's direction. This is especially important to do within this particular excerpt, since it is mostly made up of repeated 1-bar or 2-bar segments. If we were to play every repetition the same, it will begin to sound boring. But if we instead look at the overall structure and then find ways to shape the phrase within that structure, we will have ourselves a much more interesting picture. So, back to finding the high point and low point. Just by looking at the dynamics, we can see that the high point is the forte at the end of the first line, and the low point is the middle of the third line. Around the high point and low point, there are some crescendos and diminuendos which we can also factor into the structure of the passage. So here I drew the shape of that structure, starting at piano, crescendoing to a peak at forte for a few bars, diminuendoing a few bars later till it reaches piano and stays there. So great! We have the structure. Okay, so take another look at the passage. Are there any parts that don't have much going on in terms of dynamic change? Well, if you said bars 5 through 8 and bars 13 through 16, you'd be correct. So in those sections, we have to get a little creative and do something that will make it sound more interesting. My first thought for the forte section is to do something different with the second repetition of the first 2 bars. So for me, I chose to do a darker color. By this, I mean I played it with a little heavier and slower bow. Then I decided I want to follow the contour of the line with my dynamics, so I diminuendo just a little bit before crescendoing back up to mezzo forte. As you can see, this just adds a little more interest in tone and shape to a line that would have otherwise just been a forte. For the piano section, I decided to add some swells. The first 2 bars just follow the shape of the line, the notes go up and I crescendo, the notes go down and I diminuendo. Then the last 2 bars, I did a similar swell, but waited to peak with my crescendo for 1.5 bars to make it different from the previous 2 bars. So now I think we have a more interesting picture of this excerpt. From there, I would just say to make sure to hold the half notes for the full length so it all connects together. Also, take note of the staccato triplets in the third line, which is a new articulation from before. Don't play them too pokey, since this piece has a more relaxed feeling. That's all I have to say on this excerpt. I hope you enjoyed my video and now have a better idea on how to shape the phrasing. Thanks!